Okay. Dr. Gotti had a question.
Oh, why don't we get started? I thought we were bypassing health and wellness after that, so. You can call me Andy.
Yeah, we call Dr. Alex.
You gotta call me
Yeah,
Dr.
okay,
Alex.
okay.
You only want one doctor.
Yeah, Dr. Alex.
She's the real doctor.
Yeah, exactly.
She brings the medicine.
Ask any of the Darfur United players.
She even cured me once with.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Don't
know.
ask me what
She
I did.
operated on you.
Yeah.
Don't tell him.
There was no anesthesia or anything. Don't look.
Yeah.
Turn the other way, yeah. Okay, where we are, Gabe, between Gabe and Corey, maybe you guys should do the where we are for DU.
Well, yeah.
You know more than I do.
Yeah, sadly, we're kind of stuck, and it's all funding. And sadly, we were not selected for the World Cup, so that was a big disappointment.
Yeah, what was the decision? I know we didn't have enough points or appearances.
So we didn't have enough points, and it's like a system that we could never compete for points because, like, you had teams in London, 3-4 teams just playing every day, the last few days of the week, and then Somaliland got thrown out because they were even throwing the numbers that they didn't have. They just got suspended, but they didn't make it in anyway.
Aren't there a few at-large ones that?
Yeah, and they did not select us. What was really bad is one of the teams that got the other wild card was selected because of politics. The Euro for Khalifa was played in where was it played?
Bring it up again.
Yeah, somewhere in Turkey, and the team from Armenia could not go because the team from Turkey said you cannot go. So completely against Khalifa, and what they said is, well, we can't guarantee your safety because of the animosity between the population. So it just was so wrong. And Khalifa knew that this was going to happen. They had been told. And then they said, well, we'll give a wild card to. So that pretty much cost us, I think, our spot. Because of that whole dirty mafia type.
They had that planned out.
Yeah, it was bad. We still might get invited last minute, but then it's going to be too last minute for us because there's going to be some teams that drop. It just happens.
Well, we're on the reserve list, and the top team on the reserve list just got accused.
Somaliland. Yeah.
Somaliland just got accused.
So now we're just.
So now we're only 2 away from the reserve list.
Yeah.
Which is something that I really think that we need to be kind of mentally ready. Because what if it goes through?
Yeah. So the
And
big
then
thing is funding
we're riding
for us.
off, but maybe Ostersund through them. Let's
Yeah.
ride this amazing wave that they're on and grab their flipping sponsors and let's get to London.
So we had
Right? So easy.
we had decided to go to.
When you say it that way.
We had decided to go to Germany to play some games because Ostersund is going to be playing in Berlin in December. But we just don't see the funding coming through for that. It's just too short of a period, and then we're having trouble for just our other regular programs that we would have to borrow and then not make it up. I mean, it'd be hard to make it up and such. So at this point, we're pretty much also scratching Berlin. It's just too.
So instead of Zimbabwe, we were invited to Berlin.
Okay.
Yeah, and that seemed more doable, less expensive.
Was that the issue with Zimbabwe? I hadn't heard about that. The
issues with Zimbabwe was that we weren't sure we were going to get the visas.
Oh, okay.
So that's a big one.
We applied as a test, and it got denied.
Okay. I can tell you that the bureaucracy there is very difficult because we tried to actually work there and we got denied our medical license.
So
yeah.
It's and you can't.
Tried to go volunteer for a year in Zimbabwe and they said no. It's free.
So a bunch of Darfuri refugees.
They should have asked you at the beginning.
I know.
Right? So and then Germany, there wasn't going to be any visa issues. They didn't need. They would just go, and it was a lot cheaper. But even at a cheaper price, we're at a point where we just can't do it without having the money up front, and we just.
And we need points, right?
Not for Germany.
No, points are over until the World Football, until the Knifa
Right.
World Football Cup, June 18, you can't accumulate any more points.
Yeah.
So then we need to go
So
to
we-
the things that accumulate points too.
So we want. I mean, we want them to be playing. That's the
Yeah.
big thing. Each training camp they improve so much, and it just means a lot for the team and the visibility
Yeah.
and.
So since the last retreat though, we have had 2 training camps.
So we've had training camps, and that's they've been amazing. I mean, the team exponentially better. If you saw them play in the World Cup in Sweden or in Iraq, and you see them play today, you just wouldn't know that it's the same guys.
And they have muscle.
Yeah, they're stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're stronger. We added a few players that are great. We have 3 new players that are just strong, and I think we'll continue finding that type of player to where we can, start dreaming about winning a game in a World Cup, which would be huge. But yeah, we have to keep them active. We cannot go, such long periods without getting them back together, refocusing and training. But funding is the big one.
Can we set up a scrimmage with them and the Refugee United team, and I can maybe find a physio to cover it?
Yeah, no, we can do that, but we only have half 7 now in Ostersund. So
77, or maybe the guys will come.
yeah, I think they
That might be
train
something that
together,
they-
don't they? There's
Yeah,
always-
they just
or they
can,
just take a
right?
bunch
I
of
just sent you a
pictures
photo.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
One of the 2 things.
right.
So that's the good thing, that more and more are
Yeah.
going to Ostersund now with the help of Al. Al continues to do
Yeah.
all-star work with the team. And Mubarak. Al says that Mubarak does all the heavy lifting, which is just, again, amazing for one of our refugee guys to be pretty much the heart and soul and ears and everything for the team. But we just have to find a way to make Darfur United a real representative team that has the support, that we can get to play regularly, that we can have tournaments, that the whole deal. It's just too good.
Part of that's also making them more and more independent
Yeah.
and internally fundraising, because that was the problem. It's hard to justify the capacity on our team and
Right.
the potential asks to our donors to help fund Darfur United if it's going to take away from Little Ripples or from the Refugee United soccer program.
From our own salaries.
I mean,
We're
ideally,
having
someone from the
trouble,
community,
yeah.
like the players or the Darfur community there, would start to take ownership of DU and the fundraising and the community outreach.
Yeah, well, the idea is to create an executive board
Yeah.
that kind of moves it
Takes
that
it
way.
out of iAct.
Yeah,
Um,
that it becomes independent and making it.
I mean, we still will always be involved,
Yeah.
in that, but
but
from a
not
financial
kind of,
perspective, yeah.
Yeah, we've always kind of fronted the money and
Yeah.
then never really recouped all of it. Even when we get big chunks, but it's still a lot of it is, and then it's always at cost.
Yeah.
So all of our time and everything that again is taken away from doing the other work is never covered.
Yeah.
There's never
So
program.
that's a big goal for the next year.
Well,
Yeah.
Corey, do you want to talk about
Yeah.
Darfur United?
Can I just quickly, so
Okay.
part of the health and wellness too is emotional empowerment. So what about we can actually now, because we're gonna have to break it to them, right? But they have
Yeah,
to be
that's
ready
gonna
for
be bad.
call up at all time. How about then we say, in lieu of whatever, each Darfur United player has to fundraise and ask and get involved a little bit to empower them to work toward a call up or a trip. Just like Ella has to, right? And just like Julia has to. You have to, on a team, do something to be part of this team, right? Ella can't just play soccer and show up. She has to sell whatever or something that maybe they have a little bit. We brought it up that they have to be a little bit more involved in their community, and teach little kids, but maybe that they work on that to do what we're doing here, but they're doing that in Sweden.
Yeah, I mean, that could potentially be part of the next training camp, where it's the training camp, but then there's maybe a session that this is how you present yourself to the community.
And you feel good.
And try to win
Right.
over,
Yeah.
both fans and supporters.
Right.
And
I mean-
Potential and media. I mean, getting
Yeah, that's big.
Mubarak, wasn't he on the TV show?
Yeah.
And it was just incredible.
Like maybe as a team, they have to raise 100, I don't know, just something that they can have to do together. Like here, the kids do car washes, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if they need the money, like I know Francois is still recovering from ACL and he hasn't returned to construction and they've helped him out. But maybe that's just part of that empowerment as an athlete to give back. Ostersund's giving back, so you can kind of mimic what they're doing too. They have really good role models with Ostersund players right now because they are
Yeah,
really,
they're all required to.
right? So they're
Yeah,
used
do
to
some
seeing
community.
that, which the athletes here are not really used to seeing. But the Ostersund gives, like, it's a very different way. They have to give back to the community. They do plays. They have to write poems. I mean, as a pro
The
athlete, can you
manager
imagine
picks,
our
the
team?
manager
No.
picks a community
Yeah.
issue every year that's a theme
Yeah.
Yeah.
that the Ostersund Club, both the men's and the women's team, has to focus on for that year.
Wow.
Which is part of your, I mean, it's almost like iAct is like that too, you know? So that might be something that the DU players can do. So that once they're done soccer, that they're still involved and still part of maybe as an advisor to your executive board and then all of that.
Yeah, I have one of them, well, now an
Yeah, we
ex-player
talked to-
as
yeah,
a part of
yeah.
the executive board, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so, kind of a good segue into the executive board that we're just forming now. We are going after people that we think can make a difference and really kind of promote it, and some are bigger names that people might know, some aren't but are tied in with a lot of people, like they may know a lot of people that can help. You have Al on
Al
board.
from Sweden, so he really is happy to be a part of it.
Yeah.
He's huge.
I have two others. Eddie Salcedo, I don't know if any of you know him in the South Bay. His brother's a UCLA men's coach. His dad has been involved with FIFA for 40 years. He knows pretty much everyone in the soccer world, so I think he'd be a nice addition. He's on board. I have someone else named Brett Wood, who was the president of Cal South Adult for a long time. He's really tapped into the soccer community. He's also a bigwig at Toyota, really big time, like a CEO of their, I don't know what it is, their engine building part of Toyota. He's always flying all over the world. He's also really good friends with the interim head coach of the U.S. national team right now, Dave.
Oh, yeah.
Sinek, or whatever, however you pronounce his last name. So those are a couple people. We also have I've been in touch with Steve Nash, who's obviously a famous basketball player, but he's also very tied into the soccer world. He's part owner of a Spanish soccer team. His brother played on the Canadian national team, and he's really a big soccer guy. So
He is.
I'm hoping that he can come on board. And then we have a couple others, maybe Kurt Nova, I don't know.
I know.
We're trying to get a group of like 5 to 10 people that I think can really focus on building this brand in a lot of different ways, whether it be fundraising and marketing. I think is such a big deal, whereas, where everyone's saying, hey, it's tough to put money towards it. I think if we can pinpoint how we're going to market this team, and I hate to be so kind of crass and just say market the team, but it's super important that the return on investment isn't as tangible, but I think in the long run it's huge. And if we can figure out ways to do that, and I think what this board is going to be tasked with doing that, whether it be big time fundraising, setting up camps maybe in America or different places that we haven't been that can maybe tap into Darfuri communities in New York or something, that can really promote the brand that way and start getting others involved and really, I think, taking it to the next level. I think that's what's going to be really important. And then if you start having other teams, I don't know if we're going to be completely focused on DU, which I think is a good start, but if you have other teams like someday, it would be a good way to start kind of building the foundation, stuff like that. So it's in the infancy stage, and I'm open to hearing any ideas or people that may want to get involved. I think we're going to try and have a dinner next week or the week after, that'll be our first dinner. So, so it's just starting.
Yeah,
So,
good. For you, what's the prototype for a board member? There's different.
Yeah, I mean,
strengths,
it's not. It would be great to have like people with different interests, but obviously, I think a real passion for soccer is a good start. Even if it's not all about soccer, but
Yeah.
people that are really passionate about soccer also, I think, really want to see people in other parts of the world either playing it or being supported in a way. And I think that's a good start. Although I don't think it's needed, and
You have to
be a
be
soccer
somebody
person.
that gets kind of motivated by the project, almost like,
Yeah.
man, I can take this and help it get over here.
I mean, I have a friend who's into soccer, but he's not a huge fan. But we were talking about LAFC because it's just starting, and he's like, yeah, because he knows people that are investors in it, and he's like, I would love to somehow get involved in something like that. I'm like, hey, I got
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get him going too.
Yeah.
So it's just stuff like that,
Yeah.
And he's he's a big time financial guy, and if
Yeah.
you know big time financial people, they know people with money who
Yeah.
may want to
Well,
help
Alex,
out.
didn't you have a list of athletes that are?
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm
because-
compiling a really big list of refugee athletes that are pro.
Oh, good.
I'll send that to you. You can glance
Yeah.
over that all you want.
I mean, obviously people like Baggio, and
Yeah.
there was someone on the Timbers, right, that you were trying to get in touch with.
Right.
Yeah.
And then there's another female too.
Maybe.
I think that would be really just because this for the first time girls are playing
Yeah.
soccer, well, football over there, so that I think is
Yeah.
something that can really be.
I can send it to you, and if you know of anyone.
First time ever,
Yeah.
girls are
They
playing, there's
know.
women
I have a whole list of
coaches, I
them.
mean,
Yeah,
this is
that's
like a
incredible.
big, right now, women are being empowered all over the world, and it's
Yeah.
all about
So
women.
in January, we're gonna have 16 female players, the 16 coaches that it's kind of like, it's gonna be the
first DU
the
women's
first DU
training.
women's training.
Exciting.
Yeah.
That's great.
So it's exciting.
One-
Yeah.
One untapped resource is the actual players who are all on social media and actually really active. Like they always
Yeah.
contact me or
Yeah,
post,
yeah.
and they're very already like they'll boost DU,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't do it any. We haven't really coordinated with them,
Right.
so we haven't really given them resources or
Yeah,
graphics and stuff.
definitely, in training
And-
camp, we need to have something.
Yeah, maybe
like,
under what I was
very
saying.
concise.
Yeah,
training.
and just try to get them because they could do videos.
Yeah.
They could, we could do
And they're
something.
funny.
Yeah, and they know it better than a lot of us. We do
Yeah.
because they're, that's.
Star as a star.
They have adapted
Yeah.
very
Sure.
quickly to living in, a developed country with social media and all that stuff. So that's going to be a huge, huge resource.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, send me that list, and we're still working on it, but
Yeah.
I'll update people. And
Okay, let me write that down.
So
Yeah,
let's
right.
still have a goal that as soon as we can get them together for a real training camp, let's do it.
Like when you say for another training camp, are you talking about 2018? And like what, like in the summer or the
Yeah,
winter?
it would be 2018. I would think.
spring camp or
When the snow melts, between when the snow melts and when the snow starts.
So I would
light out for a good portion of the day.
I would think it would be good sometime March, April, ahead of the
World Cup.
the World Cup. From experience, the last two times, there's going to be a lot of media looking for soccer stories
Yeah.
Well,
that are like good, feel-good stories. We get that a
We
lot.
get it a lot, yeah.
so just to,
Like
you
in
weren't,
big time,
you weren't here, we're gonna do a refugee athlete story.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
we have to publish
Publish.
it, like along with my
Okay.
But I think I need a few more people
Corey will.
kind of sick of me
Corey will.
reading it. So
Yeah,
have
the smart core,
to, before the
All right, here we
World
go. Which one is that?
Cup, write an article what the refugee
I know my
athlete are.
Yeah.
We can interview, so maybe I'll run it by them. And
Yeah.
I mean, I think we
Workhorse,
can
I
do a
guess.
series of them leading up. It can be something that's more academic-y, like the refugee athlete on that side, but then we can do kind of the profile of the refugee athlete, and
Yeah.
we can do, and we can use that leading up.
So
Yeah.
maybe I can do it again to the NATA journal. That just gets so much. It goes out to how many
Yeah.
gazillions trainers, but maybe through you. Sorry, that's just my instinct.
I've got,
I know. I'm like, we're running.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm too
Yeah,
tired.
right.
Let them sort it out.
Yeah,
So then, when is the World Cup again? So when we have to have this little.
It's June. Oh, the
They're
Geneva
so
one?
nice,
July.
yeah.
Is that
They're
July?
both in June. They both.
The World Cup
Well,
is
The
in
Geneva
June.
World Cup is beginning of June, and then the World Cup
World Cup
starts
is
later,
after,
like
yeah,
June
later.
20th.
Yeah.
So you want
Yeah,
this
it's around
article
June 10th.
like out by March-ish?
Yeah, they're not at the same time.
No, they're not the same.
But-
They.
But
Because
yeah,
they try to ride
I
the
think we
media
should do
also.
something, we should shoot now for something in March.
Well, the good thing is,
April.
let's say you get asked to be in the World Cup, then you already have this plan.
Yeah.
You can
Then-
have
then
that
we
train.
have-
I think
yeah.
it's a good idea.
Yeah,
in
so if we
case.
start planning and fundraising for that, then yeah, it would be like we could quickly turn it around.
Ask for a few good donors. That's
Yeah.
what the
It could be a
executive board
good kind of like executive board jump start, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing with Steve Nash is that he has his own, like all professional athletes, own foundation, but his main fundraiser every year is a soccer fundraiser.
Yeah, it's in New York. And
It's in
is
New
it
York.
May? It's in May, I think.
Yeah, it's like an
Something-
all-star and then
Yeah.
regular people can buy in, pay a lot of money to go
Like
play with them.
$50,000 to play.
But it'll be
Wow.
some basketball players.
Yeah, and they have like real big
I
shoes
know,
on
And
it.
then yeah, big names also.
Through Meg and the Chicago Bulls, did you ever approach her regarding the whole Chicago Bulls, maybe? I never have.
I mean-
Because I just need her tape.
I'm
So
not
I'm
really
very
ready. I
simple.
don't think we're quite
We're
ready
ready
for
yet?
approach.
Okay.
I think we would need like a deck and what we're gonna ask them for
Okay.
and like, yeah.
So
But
once we
so-
have that.
So a deck is important, I
Yeah.
think.
And we have versions of it, I think, like the sponsor.
What's a
list, I
deck?
think It's like it's like a packet or like
Like a
sponsor
PowerPoint.
packet?
PowerPoint,
Sponsor
PowerPoint
packet, same
presentation.
thing,
We
PowerPoint.
got to get some video in there.
yeah.
But we could work on that.
We have so Julia and Liam took a lot of GoPro footage that it's just gonna be
And then
raw
we have a
footage
lot
we
of-
have. And then we have older ones and yeah, so we have a lot of
So
footage.
Julia needs to get that tape.
She's supposed to be dropping off the memory cards.
She's supposed to be doing a lot of things right now. It's
Yeah.
like 18.
Yeah.
Welcome to senior year.
Julia
So-
GoPro.
And
Okay, good.
another thing to consider, and Amy, is.
Amy's not gonna graduate from college.
Well,
She's gonna be
that,
working at Dartford United fall or spring semester.
That Sudan is no
Yeah.
longer on the no travel list
Yeah. Into the US.
into the US.
Yeah.
So we could have the
Let's
guys
sit with
come
Chad.
here.
Wow.
They'll never. They won't be.
I know.
Think we
they
would
would.
get we visas? We could try. We could test
Me
try
too.
one. Wow.
Test two.
I would.
It'd be great to have a tournament or something.
I would. Yeah.
No,
That
they're
would be
not.
brilliant.
It's expensive though.
That's very, I know, they
It's
would.
interesting. Well, that's not
That's
necessarily
not a
bad.
problem. No.
And they can also get your house.
Yeah.
I know.
No.
Right. Oh my gosh. Right. Easier to take care of.
I know.
Stop drinking my dad.
You're gonna value her thing.
I know.
I don't have to tickle you real good.
But this is what happens. They sit here going, so we're thinking about having this team from the refugee camps and we're going to play in Iraq? No, that'll never happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, no, yeah.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden,
We're thinking of bringing them to
landing
the
in
US.
Kurdistan.
That'll never happen. They're all coming.
Well, we'll have to think Trump.
Do you want to look at? So we talked a little bit about sustainability
Yeah.
with the Dartford United Executive Board. Do we want to talk any more about sustainability, or should we move to refugees? Should we talk more about sustainability about the executive board, or should we move on to refugees?
Actually, I have one question about Dartford United. I know maybe we should talk about it in the health and wellness part. We talked about stuff like AEDs. Did we make any progress on that?
No,
No. Okay.
but we can borrow one.
Okay. Just for the games, I think if they're sort of like high profile things, we should definitely have access to defibrillators and stuff. Just
So in Ostersund, in the main, where we played this last couple of training
Mhm.
camps, there's one, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's
Or
good.
if we go to another place.
If we well, Zimbabwe, which is
Yeah.
why I reached out to
Yeah.
everyone,
Did-
I would have to bring, we would
I-
have a training session at Java Man on how to suture.
yeah, right. Right. Some Like it's
Pig shoulder.
We-
right, exactly.
I was watching a game with Layla, and they were stapling somebody, and Layla was like, "What's that?" I'm like, "That's the staple gun
Yeah,
Dr. Alex
exactly.
wants."
It works.
Like,
So
No,
excited.
I have them.
She was. We were gonna call you.
$11.27 from
Layla was
Amazon.
like
Yeah.
so excited.
Layla would
Yeah.
want one.
It
Layla
is.
wants
To
one.
be a part of the
I
staple.
tried it on a pig shoulder from Smart and Final. It
Yeah.
works. It was a waste of
They-
$11.
They do work, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a real staple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
let's
think-
get them in.
Because
Like-
I got stapled in my head when I was a kid. I think I was from a doctor.
So just the only thing,
Yeah.
the thing about the AEDs is if we just need to think about how often we're playing, and whether it's you can get them from Costco actually, but I think they're like $900. They're expensive. So if we're playing a lot, then maybe we could have one that gets
Yeah.
purchased or
Yeah.
something. If
Yeah.
we're not
It'd
playing
end
as
up
much,
being
then
worth
maybe
it, yeah.
borrowing one is better. But
Yeah.
just
And,
I mean.
you can travel with that?
Yeah.
Like, there's no issues?
I don't think there's any issues with it. I would have to look into it. I mean, they fly with them, but
Meg says that she might have one if we just borrow, like for
Okay.
Zimbabwe. There's also a high school in Long Beach that has one I could borrow because I got Beach FC to purchase 3 of them.
But we can talk to Mike Gerhardt. Do you know him?
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
he does a U.S. team. I'm sure he
Yeah.
travels with.
yeah.
I've contacted them a little bit.
Yeah.
They've helped our players. And
So
Dr.
let's first try and get
Mandelbaum
one
has.
donated, and then if not,
Well, let's just
put it
wait.
into the big
This
budget.
is big picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Where
that's
we
just,
go.
I mean,
Yeah.
the most fundamental thing we can
Yeah.
do, or at least that
Yeah.
I can do, is try and save someone's life on the field. So if we
Yeah.
have that, that helps me. You know, like that.
A
All
cattle
right.
prod, like a cattle prod doesn't work. Like,
Yeah, I'm trying to give him like a dumpling and.
I don't know, the dumpling might be, the dumpling is probably more effective.
Well,
but-
actually,
Well,
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Dr. Alex always does, she just like rubs and
Shakes
shakes.
things.
That's the dark one.
You're going back in.
Yeah.
Yeah, as
Yeah.
long as you put him back on the field after you save him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We need him back on the field.
that's without question. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
So
I know.
Andy had a comment about Kanifa because we were discussing that if we actually arrange the medical coverage, would they let DU in?
I think that I don't know if there's a spot at this
I think it's
point.
full.
I mean, it's
Right.
full. Like they can't really just add
Yeah.
a
Right, like the
17th
whole
team
organization.
I
because
think it
then
would be
Yeah.
something that as soon as we see if
Yeah.
teams drop and they're starting to consider another
Yeah.
wild card, then it would be huge.
Yeah, and we
Plus.
did make that case when because
You
they
did do
asked
it.
they asked us for please give us a one pager on like why we should pick you for wild card, and so we had that in there.
Well, good to know.
So it's all
Okay, so you guys have already,
So
okay.
yeah, I mean, it was not as strong as a pitch, obviously, because I mean you can't be mad at them for picking Tibet, but like honestly, I'm not sure Tibet's gonna make it there.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that wild card might drop out. I mean,
And
it's
then there's
very,
others that
Yeah.
just money visas.
So
Yeah.
with Dark United, when you talk to them and you give them that we're not going to Berlin,
No, take
I did
that.
not. I'm not. I'm not.
I'm not
volunteering.
doing it. You're doing
Oh,
it.
the team?
That you
So I
can
advertise the
say,
cheap offer.
maybe you can say for an
Obviously,
athlete,
yeah.
you're 2 out
Yeah.
for London, and then that keeps them going, so you have to be ready for
And-
a call-up.
And we can.
And we're at training camp in March, and just
Yeah.
keep that carrot dangling, because they have to, as athletes,
Yeah.
not say, oh, forget it,
Let me tell Al first in case he says, well, let me try and do something.
Let me put
Let
them
me
on the bus
play.
with the Austrian
Can we-
players.
Yeah,
this Austrian team.
the Osterson, yeah, maybe that
They're
they get on the
really
same
great.
plane.
Different.
You know, I don't know.
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, it could be. You never
Yeah.
know. So I'll tell Al first. Hey, this is coming up. I'm gonna tell the team.
I just need them ready. I need
Yeah.
them,
They know about
I need
Berlin.
them mentally and
Yeah.
physically still ready
Yeah.
for call-up, or it's just gonna
Yeah.
be
Uh,
very hard to
They
get.
have
Before
to,
we-
some might even know already. I mean, it's been posted online, right?
No, they
No,
don't know.
not that we are not going to Berlin.
No.
Oh,
Talking
Berlin,
about that
Berlin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Berlin.
Yeah,
they,
World
no, they all
Cup, yeah.
think we're
Yeah,
going to
World Cup.
Berlin. That right now
Yeah.
they still think we're going to
Berlin. I
But
think
the
we're
thing
going
is,
to
they
World Cup.
actually text me, because now they're getting stressed, because they actually,
Yeah.
some have jobs, they're still in
Right,
school.
yeah.
So we do have to give them respectfully enough time
Yeah.
that if they know they're being called up, that they can plan their work. So they test me going, have you heard, have you heard, have you heard? And I'm like, nope, nope, nope. So
Okay.
now that they have more responsibility and some are working.
So before moving on from DU, let's talk a little bit more about the women.
Okay.
So we're not going to be able to take him out for now, and they're gonna be like at the, starting off.
What was the
skills.
first part? I didn't hear.
Take them out of chat.
DU
Oh.
women, so
DU women.
we can, but what can we do with them after this first time that we kind of introduce the team?
This is DU women, not refugees.
DU women,
Okay.
yeah, so Darfur United, the representative team for, but women.
Okay.
But we're using the coaches as the first team.
Yeah.
Sure.
So they've been at least kicking the ball for, some for 3 years, some for 2, 1 or a few
For
weeks.
a few months.
Or weeks, yeah. A few days, so we have some that just a few days that have not,
Are there any other?
so can we, what can we do with them?
You take
That-
Sarah Christine and Amy, they all play again.
Yeah.
But it'd be cool to do something
Yeah.
like meaningful that
Yeah.
it
They play.
feels like they're maybe bring them to N'Djamena
Yeah.
and they play against a team that I mean there's gonna be teams in N'Djamena, but it'd be really cool if we bring like an outside team to come play them. It's logistics and
So Francois and them, they were in the refugee camps. Francois, Youssef, and Mustafa was too young. Francois, Youssef, the Chadians came in and they pulled them on, they made them play with not made them play, but they actually played different cities,
But that's the men's.
men's.
Yeah.
So,
Chad is the worst place to be a girl in the world.
and they
It's
didn't
number
like
2
it
in
either,
the-
they were really mean to them, but, so, how would you get another women's team?
So I think Kanifa now has a head of the women's
Cornifa
division.
is about to start.
Kanifa
women's
wants to
soccer.
do a women's World Cup in 2019, and so I filled out a survey that was actually very explicit. They asked you like, what would you need to be prepared? Funding was like they had it on there. Like, do you need funding? Do you need help with exposure? Do you need help? Do you want Kanifa to come in and do education about women playing soccer? Like they really thought about it. So it could be a possibility, like with Kanifa's support, to try. They bring somebody to N'Djamena. We bring our girls for our women
that's
from
very
the
doable.
east.
Yeah,
So
getting them to
That's
N'Djamena.
one avenue of partnership possibilities with this Kanifa women's.
Yeah. Big on the soccer side, we just gotta come up with what's the best way to get them to play, a basic game without really being
Yeah.
a disaster. I mean, our guys were a disaster and they had been playing since
Yeah.
they could walk.
I mean, I think that if they're gonna be like not be able to leave, then like them like just playing like small-sided inter scrimmage games like that we could make them like more like so they feel official. But even just small-sided, I think is gonna be better developmentally for them anyways before going to 11v11.
Yeah.
Yeah, so start,
You can make them feel like formal, so like
Yeah,
they
we
still
could
feel
get
like
T-shirts.
yeah, so they still feel like they're
Yeah.
We
competing.
could have a tournament,
Yeah.
something like
yeah.
that. Intercamp tournament.
But they're not all, are they all based in one camp?
No, so that's the thing. So in this training camp, we can do a lot and for 5 days in a row, to kind of, but then, that's the thing, then, we have to get, the other male coaches and then bringing in other men to play with them, like short-sided games, but telling them,
Yeah.
don't break them.
That's my thought. Can you have like male champions that are kind of
Yeah.
trainers?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, our coaches, like in all the camps, we have just great coaches. And they would be sensitive to, their level and everything.
Yeah.
Kaisam
Absolutely.
and Mohammed
Yeah.
and those two.
Are there
Yeah,
other
Jamal.
regional women's teams?
But
Amy's next research project.
Tibet has a women's team.
Let me
But
ask.
I'm wondering, like, if you're like,
Regional, like Chad.
Uganda,
Like
I
on the
mean,
continent.
yeah.
Nikki worked with Uganda, with the Uganda women's team.
Yeah.
Alex just left, but yeah, like Uganda has a.
So I'm wondering if they're, maybe if you can bring a couple people from a nearby regional team to come up. So they're, not from the same country, but
Yeah.
regional, and they're saying, okay, nearby, they're able to do it. And so maybe we can.
Yeah, and then like do a little tournament like with one team from outside, one Chadian team, and our team.
But I like
You
the
know,
idea
something
maybe
like
making
that.
it smaller, like not 11 on 11, but more.
No, that would be the progression. Yeah.
Well, it could be something like, so
Yeah.
we're doing spring 2018 first DU women's team training camp, rainy season. After the rainy season, you could do the small sided, and then either like December or early 2019, you could do like a 11v11. And maybe that 11v11 is when Kanifa comes in and brings their support and their funding and their leading up to their women's World Football Cup.
So a year from maybe a year from our training camp, have it as a goal that they're ready on 11v11 type shape.
How many coaches do you have to say? 12?
No, 8 por 16, 16.
So for the executive board, should we be focusing some of
I
our
think,
time on
yeah, I think
this too?
we need to, it's both teams.
Okay.
It's just very different circumstances.
If the women are like gonna like since like they're gonna go back to separate camps and not all be together, like I think it would also be really beneficial just to give them like the very, 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 very basic beast mode things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
just so
agree.
like at least they can touch the ball, like are comfortable on the
Yeah.
ball, and then you can
Yeah.
at least start with the basic like.
If we can
other
find,
things together.
well, it can be Kindles, because they're very, very sturdy, and just put videos on them. Yeah, it'd be cool to put together some of the basic
Yeah.
beast modes, and then just some cool inspirational videos of women, and you know, and a nice little package where they keep it. Each camp gets one.
We should also at some point do training videos with the DU men's team.
Yeah, yeah.
Like record them doing basic skills and
That'd
stuff
be
that we
really
could bring to the
cool.
camps
Yeah.
and share with the women, and
Yeah.
In the
Their
recess.
academies.
because it's so different. Like these are guys that they grew up in the same context and went through the same process.
Yeah.
So
True.
they probably have the best advice from that way.
Yeah. There was clapping when we would mention the women's team coming up in the camps. Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, I think like for the executive board, in terms of just like funding and highlighting, so Americans, they love the underdog story, period. You know, because soccer's not as popular as the other sports, but like the underdog story is always the underlying. And then I think women and girls playing, people get like, they like rally behind that, because here in America, girls play, and so, but it's like a clear connect, like, well, if my girl can play, then that's.
It's gonna be a big story.
Yeah, so I
It's
think
gonna
that
be,
it could help.
Yeah.
And also like institutional funding, like for the government, like peace building, sports are so hot right now. If we can,
Yeah, I had
From
it-
our government?
from our government, yeah, you say that peace building is one
Yeah.
of the biggest initiatives. People can help. Gender equality.
I would still like to do some posters with our guys promoting the health and hygiene.
Yeah.
So we just get them to all the camps. It'd be really cool.
It would be really cool.
Give them out.
Like the hydration one, but then like do
Yeah. Do the washing your hands, and so you have a shower. I wash my hands. Something.
They don't use latrines anymore.
Huh?
They don't use latrines
They
anymore.
don't
in
remember
Sweden.
even. Yeah.
So does everyone in the camps know like all the players? Are they kind of like rock stars?
Yeah.
yeah.
So it would be cool to do like a
And-
photo shoot, and
That's what, yeah, and then we
that
could
could be
use
we could use that for a lot of things.
yeah, like in the camps and then also for marketing.
Yeah.
But just to like bring something where you have like Solomon, when we first met him, or one of the other players in the camp, and then have him like on the field, like in a big match with the stadium. Like that's sort of that story.
Before every game, I do 5 minutes of mindfulness,
Right.
on the pitch, I wash my hands though.
Like, yeah. After using the latrine.
Wash my hands with
So like before and after photos of them in camp.
After I warm up my shoes in hot water.
Right.
Soccer shoes in hot water to warm them up.
Oh, gosh.
After I dry my clothes with an iron and
Yeah.
wire.
We're in Sweden
Dry my
in the hotel and they just came from the camps and I walk in and I smell
I think
smoke.
that's pretty powerful.
And then all of a sudden I walk on our floor, I was on the same floor and it's all
costs us
smoky
like
and I'm like, oh my god.
We had to pay for the Swedish
they just
fire
respond.
department to
They were
come.
ironing,
No.
they were ironing their
And the
jersey.
progression
Oh
of,
my
like,
gosh.
Sports is the catalyst.
Yeah.
No.
I think we've got something there.
And then of course we got
Yeah.
we got photos with the firemen, they just thought that was,
Hilarious.
yeah.
Nice photos.
Yeah, they probably
Wow.
charge us for that too.
I know. I thought I threw in some.
Yeah, we should look around.
So
and see.
bad.
And I texted
I'm paying the
KJ,
bill and I'm
Yeah.
like, what?
I know
That's
some
so
out here,
much.
but
No,
Right.
firefighters. I'm like,
Well, the
what?
great thing about them now being in Sweden is we don't have
Socialist
to fly
countries.
down there.
it was
Fly
close to burn, I mean,
Yeah,
it
Yeah,
could have been
bad.
worse.
It could have been worse.
Yeah.
We'd be paying
Why
for
did
the
they
hotel.
Did they have to put something out? Was there actually
It
a
was
fire?
almost,
Yes.
the
Yeah.
whole
You pay
room
for
was,
it.
and they were, even in all the smoke, they were just ironing away. Like, I was like, boys,
Yeah, well,
out!
I guess a lot of them are near Austin Center. There's so much spread, but there's enough in Austin.
Don't give that idea to our.
I do a shoot.
no, I'm talking about photographers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we could.
Yeah.
We could.
Anything else on the
can get
DU
someone some, like,
teams
listed
before we
there.
move to
Check out
refugees?
So we'll do
What
a
if-
specific women's
And
medical
then
kit just
send
for
wherever
that
the other
training
people
camp.
are.
Great.
I think
Other players.
Yeah,
what,
right.
what about sports?
Yeah.
Maybe not before the.
Scarves.
Oh, yeah.
Sport.
Headscarves?
Yeah.
Oh.
So
Do they have to wear them when they play? The girls.
What do you mean?
They wear a scarf. Yeah, headscarf.
Yeah.
They've got, I think, is Nike?
Nike has them.
Yeah, Nike's got them.
And gear.
Athletic headscarves?
Yeah.
Oh, AMS will do the uniforms for us.
Oh, for
Yeah.
women, it'll be full.
Do they have headscarves?
No, AMS does not have headscarves. So AMS is actually shipping us a new uniform for Berlin. So a new uniform should be arriving, but when I emailed him back about this trip, I said, do you guys ever do women's teams? And he said, no, but if you're putting together a Dartford United women's team,
We do it.
we would do it. So
Right.
that's as far as I got. They've only done men's teams.
Like,
Like,
that might be something, the new uniform is a dangle for our players. Say, you know, maybe, hey, listen, we are serious, so maybe we're not going to Berlin, but look what we're
Look at our
getting
new
ready.
uniforms.
So
Yeah.
if you wanna earn this, keep doing what you have to do.
yeah.
Players love new kits.
Okay, but
All
so
players.
if we're gonna mention March, April, we have to commit to actually making it happen.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
How much money do we need for that?
Well, if we do it in Nostra,
I don't know.
it would be a lot less. So it's just,
Just
it's
support you for
flying
your-
us over
Your
It's like
there.
hands are a
20
little
it's like
tied
20,000.
until,
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's like 20,000, and that's
And that's a full
because
week.
it's a full
Yeah.
week, and Al does get.
A
He
lot
tucks a
of
lot
it,
of
don't.
stuff under OFK, and we got really lucky. Like all our housing
Amazing.
at the
Yeah,
training
he is.
camp, and all our meals got tucked under OFK, and they just got
He
paid
just
for.
said, if they don't ask me for it,
Yeah.
I won't mention it. Like, okay.
Okay.
No, he is amazing. He's an angel.
Yeah.
He loves the guys, all through Mubarak.
Yeah, so it's the getting us there, and then it's about 1,500 to 2,000 for. We always bring not just training kits, but we bring them like extra pants and extra jackets, and we usually have enough cleats.
Yeah, I like to get to where it really looks like a team. Like the staff is geared up. The team, whenever they go out, they all go out. You know, it's just
Training.
part of.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to get like a sponsor for this
Yeah, I
training
know.
camp.
I like the way Gabriel said the team's good, but the staff.
Yeah.
We're bringing them down.
They look bad. Staff look bad.
Can we please uniform staff? No, it just looks really cool.
Yeah,
Just,
Yeah.
and then you
Looks
can use
professional.
pictures forever.
Yeah. I can get you the budget from,
Okay.
well, Felicia and I, we have the budget from the Austrian training camp.
That could be something the board really tries to tackle,
Yeah,
that funding.
that and then the DU women's team. I
And then
think
for the women in January, right,
That will
we
be
need to start
really
thinking now about
Yeah.
everything, oh, you're on sport, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need
very
to talk
exciting.
about the January
Yeah.
trip.
Yeah.
It's getting pretty gigantic. in
Yeah,
terms of
it
the
is.
checklists.
Fosters the third week of January.
Yeah. We'll talk about the calendar stuff
Great.
on Monday.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah, it's exciting stuff.
Yeah.
EU is just an exciting part of our